Good morning, televiewers on My Media Prime Television. You're on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief. The Brief, of course, which is always dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. On today's edition of the program, we are told that the military tribunal in Buea has acquitted staff of international medical charity organization, Doctors Without Borders. We shall talk about that this morning on the program. And equally, over 1,000 persons have been called up by the Supreme State Audit to come and explain how they were able to benefit from budgets line 94 and 65. We shall also talk about that this morning. NGOs or head of NGOs as well as some former Indomitable Lions equally benefited from the said budgets line. We shall talk about that this morning. In this edition of the program, New Year wishes to the Prime Minister, head of government. Recently in Yaoundé, some newspapers are focusing on the New Year wishes that were presented to the Prime Minister, head of government, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute in Yaoundé recently. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here with me. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vos fidèles téléspectateurs de My Media Prime Télévision. Au plaisir de vous retrouver pour cette autre édition de Deux Briefs. Alors ce matin, nous débutons avec l'essentiel. L'essentiel ce matin nous amène dans le cœur du complexe sportif d'Olembe. En effet, le journal nous parle en grand titre de la malédiction d'Olembe après avoir englouti des centaines de milliards de francs CFA. La livraison de ce complexe sportif est toujours compromise, surtout avec la résiliation unilatérale depuis le 5 janvier 2023 du contrat liant la société canadienne McGill Construction Corporation au Cameroun pour l'achèvement de ses travaux. Les détails sont donc en page 3 de l'essentiel ce matin. En page 4, le journal nous parle d'eau potable au Cameroun. Le journal nous révèle ce matin que Camwater et Sevuk entrent donc en synergie d'action pour maintenir de l'eau potable au Cameroun. Nous continuons avec l'éveil républicain ce matin qui nous parle aussi en grand titre du complexe sportif d'Olembe. McGill qui sonne donc le toxing émet à nu moins les combis. C'est le grand titre ce matin de l'éveil républicain. Une correspondance bien tartinée a été déposée à l'attention du ministre secrétaire général des services du Premier ministère le 9 janvier dernier et dont le contenu est un véritable cocktail explosif. McGill apporte donc les preuves démontrant que le MINSEP serait le chef d'orchestre des manquements observés dans les travaux d'achèvement du complexe d'Olembe. Il est donc pointé du doigt pour avoir fait main basse sur les fonds destinés au paiement des sous-traitants. C'est l'information parue ce matin par l'éveil républicain et les détails sont en page 2, 4 et 5 de cette édition. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous continuons avec Relais d'Afrique. Relais d'Afrique ce matin nous parle du plan communal de développement. 400 projets estimés à 53 milliards 837 millions 534 000 francs CFA sont donc alloués, ont été votés pour rendre Douala 5e émergent. L'arrondissement de Douala 5e a désormais son outil de planification stratégique, la boussole de la commune d'arrondissement adoptée le vendredi 30 décembre 2022, met donc l'accent sur l'amélioration des conditions de vie des populations dans cette partie du pays. Les détails sont en page 6 jusqu'à 7 de Relais d'Afrique ce matin. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous clôturons avec Mutation Quotidien ce matin qui nous parle de pénurie de gaz au Cameroun. Encore une autre fois, la pénurie prend encore. Le combustible manque dans plusieurs stations-service et autres points de vente à Yaoundé. Les détails sont en page 5 de Mutation Quotidien ce matin. En page 11, le journal nous parle du complexe sportif d'Olembe. Déjà 155 milliards de francs CFA dépensés dans la réalisation de ce projet. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà pour vos titres ce matin. En langue française, je place à la découverte de ces titres en langue anglaise et c'est avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys. Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart this morning with the Post-Weekender newspaper. The Post-Weekender this morning is interested in the list published recently by the Supreme State Audit. We are talking about budgetary lines 94 and 65. 1,000 people in Supreme State Audits rather for alleged embezzlement. The paper digs further by telling us that close to 1,000 people, including civil servants, civil society actors, journalists and sports icons, are in the radar of the Supreme State Audit. They have been invited to appear before a special auditor commission of the audit institution to explain how they grabbed huge sums of money from the budgetary heads numbers 65 and 94 and how they used the money. According to a press release, the minister delegate at the Supreme State Audit, Rose Mba Acha Fomenda, signed recently. Many people who run non-governmental organizations, private associations and businesses are part of those who have benefited or been invited to come explain how they got and spent huge sums of the taxpayers' money. A former triple jump laureate, a book publisher, a former player of the Indomitable Lions of the country are amongst those that have been called up to come explain how they were able to get the money, the huge sums of money from the budgetary lines 94 and 65. Let's now talk about the court ruling recently in Buea, chief town of the Southwest region. After 11 months pre-trial detention, Buea Military Tribunal acquits detained Doctors Without Borders staff. We are told the organization expresses will to resume work if government agrees to modalities. Full details in this edition of the Post-Weekender newspaper. Let's talk about Nigeria that has gone back to the International Court of Justice. Nigeria ignites another legal battle to reclaim Bakassi Peninsula from Cameroon. We are told by the paper that more than 20 years after the International Court of Justice ruling that ceded Bakassi to Cameroon, Nigeria has gone to the same court to ask for a reversal of the decision. Nigeria had bowed to the ruling that ended several decades of conflicts between both countries over the ownership of a resource-rich peninsula. This explains why observers see Nigeria's launching of legal hostilities against Cameroon as a backpedal. Full details on page 3 of this edition of the Post-Weekender newspaper. On to the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post is interested in the decision of the military tribunal in Buea, chief town of the Southwest region. Doctors Without Borders hints on resuming life-saving services in the Southwest region of Cameroon. The International Medical Humanitarian Organization, Doctors Without Borders, has hinted on resuming its life-saving medical services in the restive Southwest region. The impending move follows a ruling by a military tribunal in Buea, which acquitted some 5 workers of the medical charity organization. The global body last year suspended its activities in the Southwest region following the arrest and repeated attacks on its workers. After months of legal battles, all 5 workers of the organization were found not guilty of all charges levied against them. They were thus immediately acquitted and discharged by the Buea military court. Full details on page 3 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. Kumba Ekondotiti route population pledges collaboration. The population of villages along the Kumba Ekondotiti route have pledged their collaboration with those carrying out the tarring of the route. This disclosure was made recently as the Senior Divisional Officer SD of Meme Division, Chamberlain Tung Ndong, paid a visit or inspection visit to the ongoing construction works of the Kumbambonge Ekondotiti route. Let's leave the Guardian Post newspaper this morning. We are with Municipal Updates newspaper, which is interested in the New Year wishes presented to the head of government who is, of course, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon, Chief Dr. Joseph Diongute. The paper writes that PM receives New Year wishes in colorful ceremony. And after Bia's renewed commitment, Tiko Airport rehabilitation imminent. The paper is telling us that during the end of year State of the Nation's address to the country, President Paul Biya did mention about the rehabilitation of the Tiko Airport in his speech. And of course, the airport will be rehabilitated as per what Municipal Update newspaper is telling us this morning. We end with the Horizon. The Horizon is interested in the outing of former separatist leader. We are talking about Success Nkongo. Success Nkongo makes serious allegations against Ferdinand Gongo, who is the Minister of State, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic. But observers question his motives, the motives of Success Nkongo, who has accused Ferdinand Gongo. He even said that he will burn his Bible if Ferdinand Gongo does not go to jail. He will burn his Bible and transform or change his faith from Christian to Muslims. Get full details of the outing of Success Nkongo in this edition of the Horizon newspaper. And 2 billion CFA is the amount that is given to sort out humanitarian issues in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. The 2 billion CFA EU humanitarian aid to northwest and southwest shredded in controversy. Doctors Without Borders agents acquitted of all charges in the military court in Buea, and the international charity organization is has hinted on resuming activities in the southwest region of the country after 11 months of the suspension of the activities in that part of the country. Full details in this edition of the Horizon newspaper. Thank you for watching, televiewers of My Media Prime. We are back in the studio this morning to talk about or discuss the major headlines as captured by newspapers. Metro Alex Ndive is joining us live on the line to UK. Metro Alex, Happy New Year and welcome.
Good morning, happy calendar year for the people of the Cameroons. Nice to see you, Gwladys. Nice to see you, Mr. Lasha, and fans of the Briefs. And I send my warm wishes to the beautiful people of the Cameroons. To me, New Year is just night and day. If you keep on doing the same thing, nothing will change. So if you want new results for the so-called New Year, you have to start doing new things. Once more, it's always a pleasure to be on your program.
Yes, Metro Alex, let's kickstart with the move taken by Nigerian authorities going back to the International Criminal Court or International Court of Justice to try to get back Bakassi. As a lawyer, is it possible for the verdict to be reversed over 20 years after?
I must start by congratulating the Nigerian government. Why? It's very simple. They are not using guns. I am not afraid when people take things to court. I'm worried when people use guns and they start fighting each other as they used to do in Bakassi. It is their right. What I don't understand, I don't know if they have a right of appeal, but however, it is a positive step to go to a court rather than using guns, Cameroonian soldier fighting Nigerian soldiers. So I applaud that. And another point that I would like to raise, when Mr. Biya, I don't know if it's 20 years ago that the case of Bakassi was successful. When you win something and you abandon it, you don't use it, you don't open oil refinery, you don't develop the place, Nigerians love it. It's attractive. There are Nigerians living there. So when we go, we say there's Bakassi Rich Peninsula. Who are we keeping that peninsula for? Is it for France in 50 years' time? If Mr. Biya doesn't want to develop it, maybe the Nigerians they want to develop it.
Is that the reason, enough reasons for Nigerian authorities to go back to the International Criminal Court after everything, the dispute was settled peacefully?
I started saying
at the level.
Have a right.
Yes.
I started saying they have a right to go to a court. To go to court is one thing. To win a case is another thing. So normally anybody can go to court. They will look at the evidence. They will look at the facts. They may throw the case out. There might be a hearing. It depends. So
there was a green tree agreement at that time. There was a green the green tree.
Fighting each other.
Yes,
So
Maitre.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Maitre, but why should Nigeria be going back to the International Court of Justice when there was a Green Tree Agreement at that time where Kofi Annan was the Secretary General of the United Nations Organization? The Olusegun Obasanjo, Nigerian president at that time, everything was settled and it was clear on what they were supposed to do to develop Bakassi Peninsula from the transitional phase right up to the final handing of Bakassi to Cameroon. Why should Nigerian, after going through all this process, go back to the International Court of Justice now?
I haven't seen the detail of the case, but what I will tell you is that every case, once there's new evidence, you can always take it back to court. Once there is new evidence. And again, Obasanjo was Obasanjo. If I should play the devil's advocate, I should look at it on the point of view of Nigerians. They will look at it, Obasanjo was not patriotic because that's the land that they wanted. Today we have Buhari, it's a different government today. So, as I say, when there's a new evidence, there's new evidence. And I will blame Mr. Biya's government for complacency because it is clear that ever since this case was won, nothing have been done in Bakassi.
No, Maitre, when you say nothing, it could be quite misleading because civil servants who are sent to go work in Bakassi Peninsula, they have free housing, they have other incentives that government give them. Some houses have been built in Bakassi, other free
Mr.
housing,
Lasha,
another incentive. Yes.
Mr. Lasha was in Cameroon, and I should tell you, my standard is very high. When I'm talking about nothing have been done, I was expecting after 20 years to have an oil refinery in Bakassi. Houses are normal thing. Before, more than millions of years ago, people were living in houses. I'm talking about oil refinery. I was in Cameroon. Forgive me, some of you Cameroonians, our standard in Cameroon is very low. People walk in the street, you see litters everywhere. People open their private bar and pee in the street. The standard of that my country is very low. People have to up their game. We need an oil refinery in Bakassi, not house, not civil servant. We should up our game. My standards are very high. I want to see Cameroon be a better country.
Maître Alex, selon vous, puisque le Cameroun n'a pas établi une usine de raffinerie dans cet endroit, c'est normal que le Nigeria le récupère maintenant?
It's a disputed land. Let me put it and play the devil's advocate. We, Cameroon, is saying it belongs to them. Nigeria is saying it belongs to Nigeria. And let's make this clear. Part of northern Cameroon is already in Nigeria already. As we say, they said they voted to join there. So it's a disputed land. To us Cameroonians, it's our land. To them, it's their land. So it's true that a case, a judge made a decision that Bakassi belongs to Cameroon. Maybe they have got new evidence. I'm not saying they are going to be successful. Let's wait and see. But however, I expect the government of Cameroon to give their own position, not me or you reading this on a newspaper. We have a government that is always silent, which is not proactive, which is reactive. What is the position of the ruling CPDM party? That's what I'm interested in. It's very important. They are silent, and when things goes bananas, that's when they will come and be talking.
Okay. Maitre, we stay in the southwest region to talk about Doctors Without Borders. A military court in Boya recently ruled in favor of workers of that international medical charity organization that had its workers arrested by Cameroonian authorities. And of course, they were acquitted and discharged of all charges yesterday. And the NGO is promising or has hinted that it will be coming back to the southwest region to start giving medical assistance to the needy population should government respect the modalities, the laid down rules of, especially the neutrality when it comes to operation of such institution.
My personal experience in some government officials in the Cameroons, they have a problem that sometimes they don't understand the law. Doctors are bound by their own professional ethics and the Geneva Convention. The legal and moral and ethical tenet that they operate is very challenging. And when you see a government, I was trying to see if I could get the names of those people who were detained or arrested, and I presume they are dark-skinned people like myself, and if they were white-skinned people, I'm sure the government of the Cameroons wouldn't have detained them, because they wouldn't. I don't know if they have immunity, but what I will tell you, there are 3 obligations that makes the ethical position of these doctors, which is different from serving soldiers. They may not partake in the act of war, but they can protect patients using guns. They must treat all casualties equally, regardless of your nationality, or if you are an enemy status, they don't care, they have to be neutral. They are required by law to speak out if there are any atrocities committed by both sides. So they have a very important role to play. And I was also disappointed. What caught my attention is that they were being tried or in a military tribunal. I will always reiterate that a military tribunal is something that the government
so
of
if you threaten somebody with a gun, you expect to be
No, I'm telling you what the Geneva Convention says. They can protect patients. They cannot partake in war, but they can protect patients. That is the law. And imagine, I've made it clear that the seriousness and the challenges that these people go through in a war-torn area is not easy, and they can protect themselves. They cannot partake in war. That is their obligation. That's the ethical position, and the Geneva Convention also taking into consideration their professional ethics. So it is very important for us to know this. And I was so disappointed that they were tried in a military tribunal. And as I said, we don't know the names of these people, and I will be surprised if one of them was Muzungu, was white skin. Sometimes we use military tribunal to terrorize our own people. If those people, I'm not sure, if they were white skin, the government wouldn't have tried them. That is what I can say.
Maître Alex, on ne peut pas totalement dire que peut-être il ne devait pas passer par le tribunal militaire, parce qu'on voit dans d'autres pays, ces organisations humanitaires sont celles-là même par qui on passe pour faire passer des armes.
It was an allegation, and at the end of the day, a court have to be what? You have to have fair hearing. Once as your the case is in a military tribunal, you cannot have fair hearing. You cannot be trying civilians in a military tribunal. You need civilians in judge.
But if you don't consider yourself as a civilian, why should you be tried in a civilian court if you tend to behave like a military man?
Are you talking about the Doctors Without Borders?
Those that were arrested, they were arrested based on the fact that there were some other charges that were being levied against them. They were collaborating with the separatists. Some had guns in their
Mr.
vehicles.
Lasha, from time immemorial, even in those days of President Ahijo, if people commit crime with guns, they don't go and try them in military tribunal. We have a civilian court. Military tribunal should be for military people. So it doesn't matter what crime you commit. There's a criminal justice system. If they need police to protect you or military to protect you in a civilian court, they should come bring those police there. What is the essence to be trying people in a military tribunal in 2023? What democracy are we preaching in our country? If you are still trying
on parle ici d'une zone qui est, on va dire, en crise depuis plusieurs années. Donc, on peut comprendre aussi la lourdeur ou bien ce qui a poussé le gouvernement camerounais à aller faire passer par un tribunal militaire.
You're mixing things. When we are talking about judge, we are talking about judge. And military judges, are they more experienced than some civilian judges? A court is not a place where they fight war. So why do we need military there? We are talking about people who understand the law. And I know well-learned Cameroonians from the French and English side who are judges who can try that case. I don't know of any one single, personally, I don't know the name of one judge who is a military person in Cameroon. If they were that experienced, if they were that knowledgeable, if they were that intellectual, I should have known. I don't know one single military judge name in Cameroon. I'm not saying they are not existing, but I know judges who are very experienced. It's the matter. A court is not war. A court is a civil place where you have to have a fair hearing, where you have to be there. You are not afraid of anything. But when you are in a military tribunal, criminal, the judge is a military man, you see people with military uniform, you cannot have a fair hearing because you will be afraid, you will be scared.
Ok, Maître Alex Ndivé. Allons donc précisément là dans la ville de Yaoundé où nous avons deux cas, mais on va commencer par celle de la pénurie de gaz avant de parler du complexe d'Olembe. Encore une pénurie de gaz, Maître Alex Ndivé, dans la ville de Yaoundé.
Oh, it saddens me that for 40 years we have been talking about the same thing. We have been talking about gas, recycling problems. Don't we solve problems in the Cameroon? I was in Cameroon. I saw how people are suffering in Yaoundé. That's the capital. They have to go and buy lamb. I saw the queue, how gas prices is expensive. Some people, they bought it for 10,000. Some, if they were lucky, for 7,000. Should we be having this? Take note. Why do most people, they buy gas? Why do they buy it? To cook food. And food is a basic necessity of life. And if the government can be doing this, what are they planning? Do they want our people to start living as if there's famine in Cameroon? These are urgent measures. I remember government ministers talk about the gas, they talk about supplying. There was excitement in the southwest region, excitement in the northwest region, although the prices were different. Not too long ago, how many months ago, I saw them wishing Happy New Year. Happy New Year for famine? Happy New Year can only be when you give the people what they want, their social needs. Gas, food, and electricity, and good roads. That's Happy New Year. Happy New Year is not shaking hands. I cannot be suffering. Then I go and be greeting somebody saying Happy New Year. If there's electricity, if there's gas, if there's clean water, it is Happy New Year.
Okay, Maître. Yes, Gwladys talk about sports complex in Yaoundé, along the sports complex. Kanda, once again, and the company, the Canadian company, that was formerly constructing the sport complex has declined.
I have heard about the Olembe Stadium. What I can say is that if there's a scandal, we have something in the Cameroon, what they call police officers. If there is something, it is up to the police to go and investigate. I don't hear about the police getting involved in these matters. The problem is, let me mind my language a little bit here. The problem is, when there is a problem, about like Olembe Stadium, it goes to the Prime Minister's office, it goes maybe to and it's the same people who awarded those contracts. You're selling a person, you're selling somebody who there's an alleged crime to investigate himself. The problem is, why is it that every contract in the Cameroon, why is it that government ministers must be there? Can you not hand it to private people and sit back and do their job in their office? Everybody wants to be involved, because why? Everybody wants to taste the elephant. It saddens me that in our country,
Maître Alex, c'est la deuxième compagnie qui s'investit dans ce projet et puis il abandonne en cours de route. On parle là de près de 48 milliards de francs CFA. En totalité, on parle de 155 milliards de francs CFA investis uniquement dans ce stade et qui n'est pas encore achevé.
The point that I'm saying, if we have to solve this problem, we need an independent police. When there is something, it's up to the police to investigate it. We don't want to hear about, it to be done.
So how do you make the Cameroonian police to be independent?
Independent means that what's the name? Here the name police. They are there to fight crime, investigate crime.
That's what I'm saying. So how do you make the Cameroonian police to be independent? How do you achieve that?
To me, they are independent because all of them, they are part of that oligarchy. I heard recently the airport, a police officer was arrested because of what? Drugs or what? A senior commissioner. If they can do that, a senior commissioner, it means they can also investigate this case. But however, Cameroon is Cameroon the way it is. Maybe the police, they know the people involved in this matter. They are their bosses, so they are afraid to go and investigate the matter. So that's a problem there.
Okay.
So, sorry.
Okay, Maître, we continue to talk other issues. This time around, we are talking about budgetary lines 94 and 65, where the Minister of Supreme State Audit, Rose Mba Acha, has published a list of 1,000 people who have been or who have benefited from that or those budgetary lines, and he's calling on them to come and justify how they were able to receive huge sums of money from those budgetary lines and how they spent the money.
Mr. Lasha, that's what I call putting the cart before the horse. Before you award a contract to somebody, are there not job description modality on how to do it? This is these double functions in the Cameroon. We have what I call double function. To me, it's not about auditing. Where there is something they can smell the rat, that somebody have committed an offense, there the police comes in. You have already given contract. People have taken the contract. They have done whatever they have done with it. Then you are asking that they should come and explain. If I'm the one, I will not go. Listen, before you award a contract to somebody, they sign legal documents. They tell you what you have to do. So why should I do that? Then you are inviting me to come and explain. Explain what? I can go there and I tell you everything. You will do me nothing. Because everything that you have to do in a democratic country, it has to be spelled out. The terms of contract. It is a commercial contract. It should be clear. It should be open to the public. But there is no transparency. People give things to their friends, brothers, sisters, nepotism. Then at the end of the day, we should come and explain. You're going back retrospectively. It doesn't work that way. We should make sure our institutions are clear and the function straightforward. It doesn't. I come and explain. As I'm telling you, I would not go and explain if I were the one. And again, most of these people who have those contracts, for the most part, they have godfathers. So what do you want to do with them? Who do you want to explain? But if we have a police that they can investigate something, it is their job. I want to see the police be doing their job. They don't need permission from a 2D. They should investigate any matter. Their name is police, policing the people, investigating crime, fraud, corruption. But our police, they are silent.
Ok, Gwladys, la police are silent.
Maître Alex, qu'est-ce que vous attendez effectivement de notre police au Cameroun? Vous ne pouvez pas dire que la police est carrément silencieuse. On voit quand même les actions qu'ils posent. C'est vrai que peut-être à un certain niveau, ils ne peuvent pas aller au-delà, peut-être par instruction de leur supérieur hiérarchique. C'est quand même l'armée,
Ouais.
ils doivent attendre des instructions de leur supérieur hiérarchique.
One of my mentors, late Barrister Denis Ekane, who was Secretary of State for Internal Security, my mentor. I know how the police was being run when he was there. When he was removed, Anje Chungi came there and said, police the police. We have never seen police the polices how many years today. So they just use word theory, but they don't do things in practice. I was near the delegate for internal security. I went to play table tennis just there. They are silent. Why? They say, a pole where a police officer sits there and look at what's happening on the ground. I was just standing there. Behind there, you have garbage, death. Behind the, police head office in Yaoundé. They don't see those things in the street. Before you want to change big things, you must start doing cleaning your house or your road. The police, they cannot even do simple things around themselves. They sit there, they wait for orders. We believe everything must come from.
Maître Alex, est-ce que vous êtes en train de dire sur ce plateau que la police camerounaise manque d'initiative?
I'm giving you an example that when Anje Chungi was there, they talk like police, the police. People use words. I was close to a Secretary of State for Internal Security who was my mentor, Mr. Denis Ekane. I know how they function. He tried to reform the police. He did a lot of things of which I know personally. But however, when you want to do the right things, there are a lot of people who put strings on you. So it is very important. I'm not saying they are not good police in the Cameroon, but we don't see them. We don't see what they are doing. We see police. It embarrasses me sometimes. I see police fighting 500 fast. I was in a car somewhere in Yaoundé, and a police officer was drunk, dirty, and he asked me that farote-moi. Without no, it wasn't a problem. He was just begging me money, and I gave it to him. The police officer was so dirty, the uniform. He was drunk in the street in Yaoundé. I just gave him some money. I don't want to see that in our country. I don't know if the ministers, the police boss, or other people, or Mr. Bia, who is the head of state, I don't know if they see these things. People see things that are not normal in the Cameroons, and they keep quiet. It baffles me. I cannot believe it's a country that I was born there. I can't.
Okay.
It saddens me,
Okay.
to be honest.
Ok, Maître Alex, parlons à présent des frais de First School Living Certificate et de CEP qui ont augmenté au Cameroun. À votre avis, est-ce que cela devrait se faire?
You talk about First School Living Certificate, they have increased.
Yeah.
The fees, yes, and common entrance into Form 1.
The point is, we know Cameroon. Cameroon is everything that goes what? VNet up, fiscal stamp up, everything goes up in Cameroon. But my point is, I don't have problem for people to increase fees. But to me, if you don't show us what you're doing with that money, people should not even pay tax. If you collect money, toll gate or things, then there are no roads. Why should I pay?
Mais maître, est-ce que les Camerounais ont le choix de ne pas payer? Est-ce qu'ils ont le choix? Ils ont réellement le choix? Comment? Ils vont pas payer puis les enfants ne composent pas?
The point is, we live in a country right now that nobody is willing to sacrifice. Okay? As I said, I was in Yaoundé. I was showing the death on the street. People were looking at me like a mad person. Do we have councillors? We have mayors. We have senators. We have parliamentarians. They pass through those garbages. Everybody is silent. All they do is we thank the head of state so that they should promote them. Do they not see what I'm seeing in that country? Is that normal? Why are you a mayor? Why are you a councillor? Yes, if they increase things, you cannot afford it. It is your right to protest peacefully. It is in the constitution of the Cameroons. You have a right to protest. But everybody is sitting, le Camerounais n'ont pas le choix. You have a choice. Boya University did not come from the air. We fought for it. Multipartism did not come from the air. We fought for it. GCE board did not come from the air. We fought for it. I've never seen a dormant population in the Cameroons that nobody cares. You are afraid of Mr. Biya. If you're doing the right things, Mr. Biya will not hurt you. If you say there are dirty garbage in the street of our country, Mr. Biya will not come and beat you. The police will not do anything. It's because people don't care. A simple thing that we have people in the Cameroons. How can people, men, they sit on public places, open their private part, their pee in the street? Is that normal? Is that normal? Very soon we say we have cholera. Very soon we say you see standing water. Nobody says anything. It's as if nobody is governing the country. People who go in the street and urinate there, they should find them. On the fourth fine, they should find them. But nobody, do you need rocket science to do that? No, nobody cares. It's not my country. Insofar as I have my house, my car, my good road, my electricity, my borehole, I don't care. How people live in the Cameroons.
Okay, mate. You are making me to laugh, lamenting on Cameroon, what Cameroonians, their laissez-faire attitudes over certain issues that they are supposed to decry. Anyway, let's talk about President Paul Biya's renewed commitment. Paul Biya, according to municipal updates, promised to rehabilitate Tiko Airport. And of course, the paper this morning is telling us that Tiko Airport rehabilitation imminent, as President Paul Biya promised during his end of year State of the Nation's address.
Mr. Lasha, do you know something? The first time I went to Northwest region in the Cameroon, I'm sure it was called province by then, I took a flight from Tiko International Airport. I was a boy in primary school. I landed in Bali Nyonga Airport with my mom. So why are we talking about rehabilitation today? The airport was existing. So after 40 years, what rehabilitation? I've never heard them talking about rehabilitating Yaoundé, Douala Airport. The airport has been functioning. So why is it that certain places is about rehabilitation? The airport should have been existing. Again, there's a point that other people have made, which, to be honest, I think is a fair point. Okay, if the Tiko Airport comes, I'm for the Tiko Airport, that's my point. But I want to speak for the general public. If they construct that airport, how many Cameroonians will be taking that airport and flying to other parts of Cameroon? If you look at the scale of preference, people need motorway, they need road fares. Yes, I want Tiko International Airport. It will be for the privilege, for some few people who can pay it. But while they are building those things, we need motorways in Cameroon because most people, they use the road. The government doesn't know their priority. They should put a scale of preference and see I never knew they were constructing, is it Kribi deep sea port? We just said deep sea port. Why is it that everything in the Anglophone zone, they have to say, oh, the deep sea port, they have created a port authority, they have to be announcing it for 30 years. Why? They should just do it. As they did the Kribi seaport, as they wrote, is it Kribi whatsoever, they should do it. I don't want announcement. We are not fools. It's a country. The people need to enjoy their country, but they are living in hell.
Okay, Network. That's it for today. The program Gwladys has come to an end today, and of course, hoping that our televiewers join us once again tomorrow. Metro Alex, thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Our time is up.
You're welcome, and I wish all the beautiful people of Cameroon a happy calendar year. As I said before when we started the program, it's just day and night. If you don't change your habit, if you don't do things differently, and you're expecting a different result, nothing will change. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be on the brief.
Thank you, Metro Alex. Thank you to Tebong Christain, or Christain Tebong. He was our producer this morning. And of course, for those who took off time to follow us this morning, we say thank you. Hoping to be with you tomorrow for yet another edition of the program. We were Gwladys Bomotonguina and myself, Lasha. Bye-bye for now.